Well, hello and welcome to an off track with Hinch or Rossi. Our guest today is Ed Carpenter of Ed Carpenter Racing, head in charge.
Oh boy!
He jokingly put his title on the screen.
I thought that part was private.
Well, yeah, no, nobody can see it. No one can see it. I just said it.
Updated.
Now.
I updated
CEO.
James's for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tim put mine as little. So there you go. Ed, welcome to the show. I don't know if you guys covered this, you and Tim, before I logged on here, but you'll notice there's an absent member of the program.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward, but it's fine.
We thought it'd be more awkward if he was here. Now that
he actually just left the building, so I almost had him come in and see if he wanted to pull a chair up and share a camera since he doesn't have power.
Did you? I know. Did you tell him that you were doing the show?
Not at this exact time. I asked him if he was podcasting today, and he said, no, I don't have power. And I just left it at that. So I assumed it wasn't going to be a part of.
James texted because we had been talking about, we got to get Ed on. And we knew Alex didn't have power today. So he's like, let's get Ed. I go, well, we should probably wait till we get Alex back. And James insisted it would be funnier to not only have you when Alex isn't here,
so
but
it's
also
a surprise.
Not tell Alex that you were coming on,
well,
nor tell you that Alex wouldn't be here.
I didn't confirm. I just asked a question if he was podcasting and let him know that Hinch had reached out last night, which was funny because we were just watching videos of Hinch dance. From whatever year that was in a sleeveless T-shirt or vest or whatever it was. And then you texted me. So your ears were definitely burning.
Yeah. Yeah. We were like, all right, I'll text Ed. And then, his response was, that's weird that you just texted me. We were just watching old videos of you dancing, which is also interesting.
Which is also a weird thing for me to say to you, but
yeah, I'm actually impressed that you admitted that. I feel like a lesser person would have just kind of let that one slide, and I would have been none the wiser.
I feel like we should ask why.
So my daughter has an obsession with Dancing with the Stars, and I do not keep up with it since James or any other IndyCar driver is on the cast. But my daughter, she loves it, and I was telling James it's her life dream to be a member of that show. So, as I said to James, no offense, but I told her I hope that she can aim higher than that. I don't want that to be like her end goal is just to make that show. But you do have to have some success to make the show typically. So I guess it's not a bad.
You've got to be at least a washed up racing driver in order to make it on the cast. So there's that. You
were still in your prime.
That's true. That's true. I hadn't tapped out yet.
Yeah, you did die the one time, but
but I came. But did I die? I mean, I came back, so it's fine.
And you can still dance.
And I guess, yeah. So my question though is, did she always like the show, or is just like, did she find it recently? Did she watch it like when Elio was on it? Like, when did this start?
Well, so we actually attended the finale when Elio won the Mirror Ball Trophy, I believe it's called.
You are correct.
James wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know what that is.
McKenna was alive. She was with us in California at the hotel with her aunt. So she did not get to attend.
Okay. So she didn't see it.
She was not there. She was in the city. I wouldn't say she's been a fan that long, but she's been watching for quite some time. I don't know if she was watching live when you were on the show, but I'd say at least 5 or 6 years she's been fairly invested.
Well, I feel like in that time they've really targeted that demographic. There's a lot more like influencers on the show and people that like I've never heard of. Like these are celebrities that I have no idea who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You gotta stay with your demographic.
Yeah.
I think most people said that when you were on, James.
No, 100%. I assumed I was going to be the first one to go because they're like, I'm sorry, who's this guy? Obviously, we brought you here to talk Dancing with the Stars. So while we're on the subject, who do you think should be the next IndyCar star to grace the ballroom floor?
I mean, it would have to be Pato, I think, right?
It's a good shout.
It's a good shout. Pato makes sense. I think Alex is the funniest.
Well, that Alex going on would be like me going on. It would be like an automatic week one out.
Right.
Like we can't dance. we're not all that exciting all the time. James is made for the media and the big screen. So if he and Elio were good fits, I think Pato would fit into that vein.
Yeah. And I also feel like Alex would just be like, he would just say no for like, he just wouldn't even, okay, we're going to teach you this. No, not doing that.
I think Alex did one more dance than I did at his wedding. And I think it was just the one that was required.
Right.
So I remember, right?
That's fair. Okay. So yeah, Pato's a good shout. I mean, I always heard rumors that Joseph really wanted to do it. And I think there's a time where that would have been great. And maybe he could still do it.
I could see, I mean, he would do a good job for sure. And I could see him wanting to do it. I just think if I was IndyCar CEO for a day and they said, hey, you got to nominate one driver to go on Dancing with the Stars, I think my initial reaction is Pato.
Yeah, I think it's a good one because he would definitely play into it. He would be the people's hero. And who knows? I mean, he's, maybe he's got the hips, maybe he's got the,
Yeah, the salsa would probably be strong.
It would be strong with that one. Okay, and I got to be honest with you, we didn't invite you on to talk about Dancing with the Stars. I know you're disappointed about that. But no, Tim's right. We purposely did it when Alex wasn't here for two reasons. One, we wanted you to be able to answer honestly about how disappointed you are with your new signing for the 2025 and beyond IndyCar seasons. But also, I assume that, you're an avid listener to the show.
I've listened to a few.
Even that sounds like it a stretch, but
maybe I'll start listening more now.
That was a joke.
I had kind of gotten annoyed because, you and I have been friends longer than Alex and I have been friends and co-pilots. So I've kind of my feelings have been hurt a little bit, to be honest. So I almost didn't accept.
Oh,
just out of, but
well, it felt like
I should, since we had just watched, old dancing clips.
It was serendipitous. Yeah.
It was.
If it makes you feel any better, we only really started inviting people on the show with any sort of consistency or regularity, like, I don't know, a couple months ago. So you're actually pretty high on the list of people that we've had on in this new sort of,
we kind of started
format.
In May and you seemed a little busy then.
Yeah. You had this thing going on.
I feel better. I'm sorry I said what I said.
No. I'm glad we can have an open, honest conversation. I want you though to not listen to the show moving forward, because if I can show Alex proof that his boss isn't listening, we might get more candid responses out of him, which is just better for the fan base. So,
I may not listen. I may not listen, but I can't promise that I won't have people listening.
Yeah, you'll definitely have people listen.
I'll hear about it.
But no, so we wanted you on when he wasn't here for that reason. But then also, so because, again, I know you're an avid listener, but we're going to fill you in on something that happened, twice now. When Alex announced to the world that he was not returning to McLaren, he told us on the show in like the middle of recording one day, like the day before it became public knowledge. So it wasn't even like before we started, he gave us a heads up. We had no idea it was coming. He literally dropped it on, and he didn't even open the show with it. We were 18 minutes into a show and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm not going back to the number 7 next year. So like kind of funny.
Public?
Yeah.
So how many listeners do you guys have?
Sorry, we record before we release.
Oh, okay.
So we recorded the day before it came public, and then it was released the day after.
Gotcha. I'm with you now.
How many listeners do you guys have? How did nobody pick up on that before?
Yeah, it's a solid 8. It's a solid 8 listeners, but they don't
That's
listen.
where I was going. Oh,
yeah. And 3 of them listen through their Apple Watch. So as if that wasn't bad enough, the other day he pulled the same trick on announcing that he was signing with Ed Carpenter Racing to drive the number 20 car in the middle of a show with no warning whatsoever. So I just thought it was appropriate to have you, his new boss, on without telling him that you were coming on. And I'm not even going to tell him after the fact, because I know he doesn't listen to the show afterwards. I'm going to wait to see how long it takes him to put together that you've been on the show without him and see how he feels about it.
Well, I'll be curious to hear how that goes. I'll let you know when he says something to me. We'll see who gets a response first. And then
you can have, your people that you have listened to it give you a synopsis of how he reacted.
Perfect.
So, Ed, let's start with obviously some big news for you guys, for you and for the team. A lot of things I think had to fall in place for all these things to happen. But I want to just backtrack a little bit, take a step back, and just cover quickly, few sentences, the 2024 season for Ed Carpenter Racing from your seat as owner, driver. How do you guys kind of rank and rate your season last year?
I guess in a word, I would say it was disappointing on a whole. We want to win 500s or a 500 to start with. So we didn't accomplish that. We had strong cars again, so it wasn't like a total disaster, but it was an interesting year. I felt like comparing 2023 to 2024 that we did take a step forward. I thought our performance and potential was better. But we didn't get the results that we expected of ourselves. In the 20 car, we found ourselves, needing the final race in Nashville to secure that a leader circle spot with that car. Not a position I want to be in. When I left Nashville, that was kind of the message to the team is, we don't want to be in this position ever again. So we need to raise the bar and raise the expectations, the standard. And have nothing but determination to make 2025 a much better year than we've ever had.
Yet you signed Rossi. So I'm sorry, I'm getting some mixed messages here on what your real intentions
are. I feel like Alex is going to be an asset. And I would say that if he was on the show or not on the show.
Yeah.
So we're very excited.
No, for sure. Okay. All right. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I say that in jest.
I know.
One of the big kind of talking points, like you say, unfortunately, you guys found yourself in this race at the bottom of the leader circle table, which I won't lie, from a TV standpoint, we kind of love. It's always awesome having this extra, storyline to follow. And at some point you made the, I imagine, difficult decision to step out of the 20 for the ovals and have Christian Rasmussen finish the season. His program was a road and street course program plus the 500. You were doing all the ovals. Kind of walk us through that mindset, that decision. Was it more, with the benefit of hindsight, we now know that, Christian is signed on for next year. And so was it a case where you'd already decided that Christian was going to be, one of your drivers for 25. And so it's like, hey, if he's going to be doing all these races next year anyway, let's give him the opportunity. Was it, hey, we're considering him for next year, so let's see how he does on these types of racetracks? Just kind of walk us through the process.
Yeah, for sure. No decisions had been made on anything at that point. It was really, for me, it was a very similar emotional process as to when I raced my last road or street race at the end of 2013. And, you didn't get as old in the car as some of us have, but as you get older, people ask you all too often, like, how long are you going to do this? How many more years do you think you have in the tank? And, I'd always said, I don't know, like I could never find an expiration date stamped onto my body anywhere. So, it's like one of those things I felt like I would just start to feel that. And we had tested Christian at Gateway before we raced there, and he did a very good job. He did end up spinning and have light contact, but other than that, he was very impressive and got up to speed really quick. Challenged the car, challenged the team, and coming away from that Gateway race weekend, I just didn't feel like I was doing a good enough job. Partially because of the leader circle battle, but really just at a more simplistic level of, I don't think I was delivering good enough for the team and what they deserve and the effort they put in. I didn't think I was a good enough teammate to Renus and challenging him enough. And, so it wasn't as much about giving Christian a chance as just doing what I felt on the inside was for the best of the team. And, from day one back in 2012, I've always said and tried to live upon the fact that I will do what's best for the team. So then from there, it was like, well, Christian did a really good job at this test. We are interested in figuring out if he's going to be a part of our future. Let's give him a chance and let's find out. So that was probably the thing that, outside of just making the decision to step out at the time of which I did, I knew I was putting him into a really difficult situation with the points that were on the line. And, he obviously raced Indy in the month of May and did a really solid job there. So I had confidence in what he could do, but, the ovals at the end of the season, it was a tough stretch, and, we definitely challenged him. And, I think the way that he performed and how he, did what we needed him to do, went a long way into him securing his future for sure.
And now you've had those races and a bit of downtime to kind of process all that and look back on how it all went. You're obviously comfortable with this decision. You feel good about where you're at?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm still going to be at Indy, which is, what I've always cared the most about. And, with the way these cars are and the racing, I still think that I do bring plenty of value to the team, to warrant a seat there. So we'll see how it goes. And, hopefully one of our three cars will end up victorious. I think we've got three good chances. Christian was Rookie of the Year, and on a lot of days, I think, seemed like our most confident driver. Definitely doesn't lack aggression. He's very good in traffic, has a good feel. So I know he's going to be even better come year two. When I look at him and kind of watching him, all the young guys, as long as you do, the steps and maturity that he took from his first year in lights to the second year when he won the championship, I think I have an expectation that he's going to take a similar jump year two in IndyCar, just with the experience and cleaning up mistakes and, being a little more polished. But from a talent and potential, I think, his potential is off the charts.
And like you say, that's the kind of thing you're looking for as a team owner, trying to secure the best lineup. And the other half of that lineup is the other half of this show, Alex Rossi. So, I imagine once it was announced that Alex wasn't returning to the 7 car, he would have been top of list for any team that had, openings and vacancies available. We know that you guys are friends. We know that you share a love of aviation. What was that conversation like? When did it start? And, kind of ultimately, what was the thing that brought it over the line for you and him?
I mean, it was kind of awkward, really, because Alex and I didn't talk about it at all for a very long time. Alex is managed by his father, Peter, who, I also work with on aviation matters with the airplane that we share. So I have a really good relationship with both of them. So Peter and I talked first as, he was doing his job as manager and as team owner, each and every year, whether you have vacancies or not, you kind of have to know what the landscape is and, what's out there. So kind of leading in to when, Alex became available, Peter made me aware of that. And, at that point in time, there's always interest in someone that has a resume like Alex's. And, obviously the relationship helps, that's also kind of makes it tough too, just because we do have, a different type of relationship than I have with most drivers that drive here. Right. But really it was just between Peter and I for a very, very deep into the process of actually getting something done before Alex and I even addressed it. It was unique.
I do think the plane comes in handy, at least in Nashville. I remember we were all on the grid and you and Alex were talking and Jenna Fryer came up and said, "Oh, do I need to make anything out of this?" You're like, "Relax, we own a plane together. We're talking about that." So that
probably that was the truth of the moment.
So when we have a race where, if God forbid we ever have a race where Alex something happens on track and you are displeased with him and his performance or his decisions or whatever, and you guys meet back at the FBO after the race, and it's like, is there gonna be a little standoff over who gets to fly home, or how are we settling these debates?
I mean, usually on races where, now it's not really an issue at all anymore because I'm only driving the 500, but typically for road and streets, he would fly to those races if we were together, and then I would fly home just since he had just worked all day. So I assume we'll kind of stick to that same format. I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you that the thought hasn't crossed my mind that, there's potential for some awkward flights home.
I'm just waiting for the time you leave them there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It's not who's flying, it's who's on the plane.
That's not really my style. I think, I would prefer to have a captive audience where we're both, locked in a little tube for an hour or 2 hours or whatever it is to be able to talk about whatever needs said. But who knows, maybe we might institute like a 24-hour rule as it relates to like the race product and race team business, overlapping with aviation. That might be a good rule actually to make sure we're keeping our focus on the aviation portion of our time together.
I think the question everybody wants the answer to is like, hypothetically, if Alex has a friend at the track, is there somewhere like that the team provides with alcohol that his friends could hang out and like a hospitality section?
Did he kick you out of his motorhome, Tim?
I was gonna say, you just live in your
where
bus.
you're going with this. Yeah,
I like to have options,
James. Before you got on, he was asking if there was a job for him, and I told him I didn't see anything specific in any of the agreements that I signed. So, we'll have to continue to discuss that.
I gotta talk to Peter about that.
Yeah. I think you need better representation there, bud. And by that, I mean any. Well, one of the first things I said to Alex, when he told us again, in the middle of a show, was that I was really excited at the prospect of Rossi in an ECR car at the 500, because you guys have such a great track record of bringing quick cars there, and his record there obviously is exemplary. So very exciting that he's part of the team. But some other big news coming out of your guys' camp last week as well, with the announcement of a new partner coming on board to Ed Carpenter Racing. Now help me with the pronunciation. Ted Gelov, perfect.
Nailed
Ted
it.
Gelov, right? Heartland Food Products Group. So just for everybody, I don't know, and just for the people listening, so they know and they understand, has Ted bought into the team? Has the company bought into the team? What's sort of the structure?
Ted has bought into the team. And then obviously with his brands, Heartland owns Splenda is kind of their most recognizable brand. And then they've got I call it emerging brand. I don't know if he fully likes that or not, but Java House, there's local cafes here, but they kind of have a national product that they're really starting to push hard now, which I think you'll see an emphasis on that, as his companies gets involved with the race team. But no, Ted is a partner, and obviously, he has a very successful business that, will hopefully help us be more successful off the track, which leads to more success on the track. And, really that's, when we back up and we're talking about the timeline of how all this happened, that was really that relationship coming together, and the opportunities that are going to come from that, really was what made this whole thing possible, and kind of strengthen the appeal to having Alex a part of ECR, and, not only what he can do on track, but, elevating our potential off the track, and marrying him, with some of the Heartland brands, and how that's viewed as what is now a new ownership group. So
as you probably are aware, Alex loves social media stuff. He loves doing videos, big TikToker, YouTuber, Instagrammer, all these things. Big fan of it. He's already told me how much he's looking forward to the team's media day. Never mind the IndyCar media day, whatever the team's got planned for him. It would be a missed opportunity, Ed, if the group didn't have something lined up, or like it's Splenda, and then Alex is like, hey, I don't need that. I'm sweet enough. Like there's some kind of fun play here.
We'll take any ideas you have to.
I know we talked about a job
to put into the plan.
Free. I will start a TikTok for the team for free if I get to just tell Alex what to do. Do you guys have a TikTok?
I think we do, but Alex is more versed than I am. If that tells you anything, I'll ask Bree as soon as we get off this call.
But we'll get Bree on it.
Tim, I'll get a call set up for you and Bree. Maybe you can be an intern for a period and see how that goes. If I can tell
Alex what to do, I might pay you guys for that.
I think the first thing that makes the most sense is having him dress in a full Splenda packet costume for Halloween and walk around the shop giving out candy to the crew. Just throwing that out there. Take it or leave it. Do with that.
You've got my number. Keep the ideas coming.
All right, deal. So there was a lot kind of made in the announcements and in the press that followed about the timing of this announcement off the back of the timing of the charter agreements getting signed and locked in. Is that true? Was the completion of and the agreements on the charter side of things kind of a pivotal element of this deal getting done, or was that just coincidence?
A bit of both. I think that one of the great things that the charter system is bringing is, I think it's opening our sport up to be more interesting to more people that maybe weren't involved before. So, I think that will be a question for Ted ultimately to answer. But, I think, we'd been talking and the media had reported that charters or something of the like were coming for a long time. So, I think that probably has created conversations and opportunities, whether it's for us and probably others that I don't fully even know about. But I think it's anytime you have things like that's creating more value and, just more news, more opportunity, to bring quality owners, partners, sponsors into our sport, it's only a good thing. So that at some level they for sure go hand in hand.
And for you as a team owner, I mean, what I like about you, Ed, is you're usually pretty honest and open and to the point. So I know there was a lot of back and forth on the charter agreements with the series and the team owners. Ultimately, where it landed, we've been kind of given a broad spectrum of how it happened or where the deal point sort of settled out. But in general, are you pleased? Are you of the camp where it's, this is a start, but it's something we'll have to develop? Like, how did it all sort of settle from your standpoint as a team owner?
Yeah, I would say I'm in probably the happier camp than maybe a few folks, but, the majority of us were in alignment for a long time, around where we essentially ended up, that we needed to just get it going. Having what we have now is definitely a huge step forward for our sport, for us as teams. And, I think, were we ever going to get a fully perfect agreement? No, I don't know that you ever do if you end up with a good deal on both sides. So I'm really happy that it got done, and, the option was this or just carrying on as we had been. And, this is a big step forward, and, hopefully it'll just lead to greater things down the road.
Is there one thing that you can safely say and identify that wasn't in there that you wish had been? I think, is that too complicated? I
think it's complicated. I mean, I think there could be, there can always be more assurances on, kind of the commercial side of things and, what future revenues could look like, but at the end of the day, it's really hard to define the unknown. And, until we do take that next step or multiple steps as a series and as sport, it's really hard to plan for that. So, I think what we have is really going to be a great building block to, continue the momentum of this sport, between what the growth that we've been seeing and the Fox deal and now this, for me, bringing in a new partner and, looking forward to have exciting new brands on our cars. And in addition to some of the longtime partners that we've already had, it's just another positive thing that you can go out and communicate to, current partners or future partners. So, it's just, to me, there's really not any negatives to the whole thing.
Very cool. Well, Ed, look, you bring such a unique perspective to the sport. You're a badass driver in your own right. Multiple 500 poles. Well, yeah, but hey, it still counts.
Yeah.
Same for Elio, so it's fine. Multiple 500 poles, multiple time race winner. I don't know how many hundreds of starts you had in IndyCar. Now multi-race winning team owner as well. Very much appreciate your time. Congratulations on the new partnership. Congratulations on the half new driver lineup and continuing the relationship with Christian. And best of luck in your one shot a year program here at the 500. Look forward to seeing what the whole group can do. And again, appreciate you coming on and chatting to us. Before I let you go, though, one piece of advice for Alex Rossi as he embarks on his Ed Carpenter racing adventure.
Do I need to write this down?
No, sorry. I'm asking you to give one to him.
Oh, I thought you were going to give
I definitely thought
advice.
you were going to give Ed advice.
Sorry, my piece of advice is make him do as many social media videos as humanly possible.
Okay. Yeah, I don't need to write that down.
Don't make him do anything when he's hungry.
We're tired.
I think my advice is just to keep doing what he's always done that has provided consistency in his career. And I hope that he enjoys his time here, because I think when you're having fun, it's a lot easier to have the results start to fall into place. So excited to get going. We'll be on track October 11th. So excited to get that first day of him in one of our cars.
I've seen you two on vacation together, so I know that having fun will not be an issue. So I imagine the success will come off the back of that. Ed, thanks again for coming on, man. Really appreciate the time.
This has been Off Track with Hinch and Rossi. Off Track is part of the SiriusXM Sports Podcast Network. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, please give a 5-star rating and leave a review. Subscribe today wherever you stream your podcasts. We're at Ask Off Track on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to follow us on Twitter, Hinch is at Hinchtown and Alexander Rossi is at Alexander Rossi. If you want to follow me, though I have no idea why you would, I'm at the Tim Durham on Twitter. Find us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel for exclusive video content. Off Track is produced by me, Tim Durham, and by that, we mean Thim.